We are live, and it is October 5th or 6th or 7th, 6th. So we are live now. We're going to talk today about Photoshop Filter Gallery, which is kind of cool. It's got some really cool stuff in there. I'm not going to show you total ins and outs of it. I'm just going to kind of breeze through it so you can see what some of the filters do, and then just play with it. That's all you can do, is play with everything and have fun. So let's go ahead and dig in and share screen. We're in Photoshop. This is the neighborhood I want to live in, and you can see this little pond on the right hand side and then dirt behind it. They houses back up to the dirt area, so your backyard just kind of floats into the pool. It's really cool. So that's Eagle, Idaho. Don't save. Okay. Haha. Pizza, pizza. The reason I have this is I wanted to kind of talk about layers real quick, just because I'm using this picture. You start with your basic background layer, which is this, and then you start building stuff on it. You have layer 2, which is the sauce. You can drop the opacity down to thin out the sauce a little bit. Whatever you want to do. A little bit of cheese. Throw some pepperoni on there, a little bit more pepperoni. You don't have to do it that organized. And of course, you got to have green bell peppers by the thousands on there. Right? Perfect. Anyway, what I did for layer 5 is I hit Command Option Shift E, which would be Control Alt Shift E, which is called the claw, or one of my friends called it that, and I've called it that ever since. And it makes a whole new layer, combining all the layers into one. So let's go up to Filter Gallery. And the first filter is Sketch Torn Edges. I don't want to do that yet. Why is it doing cancel? Because I got the wrong layer selected. Okay. When things go wrong, you look at why they go wrong. And for me, the wrong layers were coming up, so I just clicked on the right layer. Go to Filter Gallery. Turn off Torn Edges, because I don't want to do that one yet. And we'll go up to Artistic. And it kind of shows you in the pictures what it's going to do. So what you do is just kind of look, yeah, that looks like it'd be kind of cool. Let's start with colored pencil. Click on colored pencil, turn the eye back on, and you get some weird stuff going on. So you can do pencil width. You can do, bring it back down again. You can do the stroke pressure. And you can do paper brightness, bring it up or down. And then if you don't like what's going on, you can always go up to where it says cancel, hold the Option or Alt key, and you'll see when you do that, it changes to reset. It just resets it back to where it started. So I'm going to go back to colored pencil, go to the next one, which is cutout. And that's kind of cool for a pizza commercial. You can do changing here. You can do number of levels. The more levels, the more detail you have. Edge simplicity. Drag it around a little bit. Edge fidelity, which I don't have a clue what that does. But when you look at it as I'm dragging it, it kind of, I guess the higher the number, the better the fidelity of your edges. When I think of fidelity, I think of my old stereo that I used to have, the hi-fi stereo. That's dating me, I know. Okay, let's go to dry brush. Dry brush is kind of cool. You can change the brush size. It's set at 2 right now. That's at max. That's 0, 1. Brush detail, you can drag it down, Drag it up. Drag it up, I said. Get a little bit more detail that way. That's pretty cool.
Is anybody able to see changes? Because I'm not seeing a lot of these changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Maybe it's my eyes, thanks.
You want me to slow down for you, Laura? I can do that.
No, that's fine.
Mess with me before the show starts. I'll show you. Okay, so that was dry brush. I got to remember that one because I photograph a lot of pizza. So, or I used to photograph a lot of pizza. Grain, you can add all the grain you want in there. Can you see the grain in that one, Laura? She must have quit. Okay.
No, I gave you a thumbs up. Yes, I did. Yes,
Okay, cool. All right. I can't see that part because I'm focusing on here. I'm used to hearing your loud voice. So, you can bring the highlights up, which obviously doesn't work very well. Intensity was at 10. I'm not a big grain fan in film, so fresco's kind of weird. It does some darkening stuff. Brush detail, brush size, texture. Yeah, this one may work for something else, but I don't see it working great on this one. Neon glow. This is pretty cool because you can change your color for the neon glow and change the size of the glow, bring it down, bring it up, brightness. I photographed a car one time and added the neon glow to it. I think I went to purple for the glow. And it was really cool, some purple and some green, and it was an interesting look. So you can play around with the glow on that. If you've got some hard lines, it shows up really good with the neon glow. Paint daubs. This one's pretty cool because you're kind of doing a painting. You can go from, that's the tequila paint daub, brush size is 60. Or you can just bring it up just a little bit, like at 6 or 7 for the more finessed Pinot Noir paint daub. You can bring in the sharpness. So if I bring up my paintbrush, yeah, it's still, even with sharpness all the way up. Brush type, you've got all kinds of different brushes you can do. You can do a sparkle brush. You can do light rough or dark rough. Rough. That's kind of cool. Palette knife. You just go in and play with the sizes on it. Stroke detail. Wow, that's like bizarre. It may work for something, but not this one. You can buzz the softness up and make it really soft or not. That didn't do anything. Okay. Plastic wrap. This is really cool. This is something that I could see Sandra playing with. I know that she would play with some plastic wrap and make some things go weird. Highlight strength down to 2 is like no wrap at all. And then you can tweak it and make it like totally out there with smoothness, detail all the way up to 15. Poster edges, same thing, just play with the sliders a little bit, see what you got. It's got a lot of darkness that it adds in there as well. Edge intensity, makes it sharper. Posterization. Oh, that's pretty cool. I kind of like that.
It is cool.
Looks like it's right out of a Superman comic book.
Exactly. You know, the thing is, I have not prepped for today. I'm just kind of going through by the seat of my pants. So I'm going to be as surprised as you are with some of these. So I got to remember poster edges as well. That's pretty cool. Rough pastels, you can do all kind. That's kind of weird what it's doing there. You can change the texture to brick.
It looked like those poster edges might actually be a good approach for doing some sharpening.
Yeah, it did look like it sharpened pretty good with do some edge thickness, intensity, bring it up a little bit, and then
Use that and throw in the high pass filter on a layer. And
yeah, you could tweak it and play with it and change the opacitor, change the blend mode on it as well. This is smudge stick. So you can do some changes there with the smudge stick. And just kind of play around with it. Sponge makes a sponge texture over the top of it. You can change the brush size, definition to sharpen it or soften it, and then smoothness as well. The kind of weird stuff you do there. Underpainting, I've got no idea what this one does. I've never done it before. Texture coverage. Let's go to sandstone, see what that does. Nothing. Burlap. You can see the waviness and the burlap there. Brick gets a weird texture. Back to canvas. Scaling. Bring it down and the texture kind of goes away a little bit. And then relief will bring a whole lot of extra texture to it. Then you can change where the light comes from. Change the bottom right. Let's go to top left, just the opposite. From the bottom. So it can do all kinds of weird stuff. And then you go to watercolor. And then again, you check the brush detail for how much detail you want in your brush. Shadow intensity is ugly. I'm going to bring it way down. Texture on a scale of 1 to 3 you can play with. And let's say you decide you like watercolor, but you also liked, what was it, poster edges. So I'm going to, down at the bottom right-hand corner, there's a plus sign and a garbage can. I'm going to keep watercolor. I'm going to hit the plus sign, which adds another filter, which is put poster edges. So you can do watercolor and poster edges, and you can also drag them from one to the other. So watercolor's on top right now, poster edges on top. So you figure out which one that you like and just play with it. I'm going to get rid of watercolor. So it's highlighted, I hit the trash can, it goes away. Close artistic, go to brush strokes, accented edges. Kind of interesting. The highlights are a little bit too bright, so you want to adjust those down a little bit. Edge width, depending on what you want. Smoothness, you can go way up with the smoothness or down. And why is that one open again? I don't want it. Angle strokes, everything goes off in an angle. You just play with the sliders, see what you like. Stroke length, make it really long, and that's a hard day's night when the stroke length gets that long. I tell you, wow, my eyes just went.
Wine with that pizza.
Dude, my eyes just went ski waddle. Whoa, that's a 420 pizza. Luckily, nobody knows about 420. So moving on, we'll go to crosshatch. This, you can get some really cool textures out of crosshatch. Again, you can play with the sharpness a little bit, play with the strength. That's crosshatch, really hard strength there. Bring your stroke back a little bit. Kind of bring it back and dial it in how you like it. Next up is the dark strokes. I've never been a big fan of dark strokes, but you can add, it kind of kicks in the darkness in there. It hits the shadows really hard. Ink outlines, again, the dark is overdone, but now we got some cool stuff when you drag the darkness down to 1. Stroke length, that's pretty cool too. Light intensity.
That's cool.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff here. I mean, you just got to play with it. And most people forget about the filter gallery and go straight to plugins and things like that. Well, play with it and see what you got. Splatter, you got the spray radius, which is how far it sprays, like all over the place. Smoothness. So if I take the radius all the way up and the smoothness all the way down, that's what you get. Yowzers.
That spray radius is really great for creating edges around an image.
Okay, I've never tried that. Cool. And sprayed strokes, stroke length. Dragging it all the way over to the left now. Back towards the middle. Spray radius again. You can see the length of the stroke versus the last one was splatter, so you use a whole bunch of dots. This one you get, the spray is more stretched out, so to speak. And you can change the direction. So the wind is blowing from the northeast, now from the north. Ding. Thank you, Mel. I appreciate you laughing at my stupid jokes.
Someone has to. I'm
Yeah,
designated today.
my wife never will.
I drew short straw today.
This is called Sumi E. What it is, I got no idea. But again, playing with the different things on here, you can get some interesting
Definitely
effects.
some comic book type effects.
You can get some comic. I like the one with it artistic poster edges.
Yeah.
That's the one where we got some really good effects. Distort, you have diffused glow. And glow amount, you can adjust it back. You just have a little bit. And then clear amount, all the way up, all the way down. So the clear amount disappears. And I don't see a way for changing the color on this one. That's kind of weird. It's all green.
You have green in your color selection somewhere?
Well, let's find out. Hit cancel. Yes, I do. My background color is green. Thank you very much, Sandra. I knew you'd know that. I kind of thought it was, but I didn't see my colors over there. Okay, filter gallery. And let's go back up to distort. Go to glass, like peeking through the shower.
Ooh. Definitely is a shower door effect.
You know, never mind. I'm not even gonna.
No, leave it go. Let it go.
This
Move
is
on.
being recorded, so I have to be nice.
Nothing to see. Move along.
A couple years back, there were some prints submitted to IPC, and they used that type of a feeling, and they got high scores for some.
Wow.
Huh. Interesting.
Too bad I've already sent my images in. Well, that's kind of cool when you're dragging the slider. The scaling of the distortion there looks kind of bizarre as you do it. And then you can invert your glass there. Kind of interesting. And then you have ocean ripple, which is the ripple size. You can make small ripples, big ripples, magnitude. This is the magnitude slider that's doing this. Takes it from 0 to 20 in 1 second. So you can get some weird effects there. Sketch, this one's kind of cool. There's a couple in here that I use on a regular basis. I don't use bas relief. In fact, let me go to black and white. There we go. And then go back to my filter gallery. Okay, this is bas relief, image balance, smoothness, and then contrast. So that's contrast all the way up. This is contrast all the way down. We'll go right in the middle there. Yeah, for this image, it doesn't work so good. Chalk and charcoal. This is a cool effect, especially on portraits. I've used it a couple times on portraits just for fun. Chalk area. And then stroke pressure. So you can kind of see here what it would do to a portrait. If you drag the stroke pressure all the way down, it turns it into a really light gray, kind of cool looking deal. This is just straight charcoal. You can adjust the charcoal thickness, the detail, and then dark and light balance. This is towards the right, so the higher the balance, looks like the more the dark. The lower the balance, you get rid of the dark and have more light. That's called charcoal. This is chrome, and that is my chrome pizza. Yeah, that don't work good for a pizza, but it might work for something else like a car, or you could probably come up with something to use the chrome on. This one is Conte Crayon. Foreground level, background level. Scaling, took it all the way. You can see that the texture on the top, the farther I go to the right, the bigger the texture gets. That's the scaling. Take it all the way down, there's just a little bit. And then relief. And that's light from the top. So let's do light from the bottom. Doesn't do a whole lot of difference. From the left. So you can see it does some interesting stuff when you change the light on it.
And you can change the texture itself too. Did you notice up there? It's
Yeah, you can change canvas to burlap, brick. It's going to give you those squares again. Actually, this time brick did something a lot different. Huh. Sandstone. Sandstone pretty much looks to me like just a bunch of grain. And the picture doesn't change underneath, but the scaling of the texture above it does. Graphic pen. This one works pretty cool too. I've played with this one a few times. Not very well, but I have played with it. Dark, light balance. And then you can do stroke direction horizontal, left diagonal, vertical, and the default was right diagonal. Halftone patterns. Makes it look like old newspaper print. So you put the halftone on there. You can adjust the contrast, you can adjust the size, and you have line, circle, and dot. I've always seen halftones with the dots, kind of like, again, we're looking at cartoon kind of thing there. Noir paper. I guess, oh, note paper. Okay, I thought it was noir. Image balance. Kind of gives a little bit of depth to whatever you have there. Grain going down, grain going up, and then relief. take that way up, take the grain down. It kind of makes it look like there's some shadow there. Depth. Photocopy. This one's really cool. It kind of does a black and white drawing. You can adjust the darkness or the lightness however you want. Photocopy works really good. You got to make sure that you're in black and white, or if you're trying to make it look like a blueprint, let's do this. Hit cancel. Change this to a light blue. Go into filter. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Cancel. Command Z. I don't want to make it a smart object. Filter, filter gallery. So there's my pizza. Let's go ahead and I did it with the building one time. Made a blueprint look by changing the color. This didn't work so good on this one. That's because I'm in torn edges. I don't want torn edges. I want photocopy. So there's your blueprint of a pizza with a lot of peppers. This one's called Plaster, and you can see it kind of makes a really cool image there. Drag the smoothness to the right and it tends to get smoother and loses detail. More detail is smoother to the left. Kind of reminds me of a sci-fi movie, watching Germs. COVID-19 2020. If you don't wear your mask, this is going to get you. Ah! Okay, sorry.
Done.
Yeah, I'm done. Reticulation.
Instead of putting out pumpkins and skeletons, etc., they should be putting out balls that look like the virus. It would be really terrifying.
It is definitely terrifying. This is reticulation. Kind of weird. I don't understand this one, so
I
I'm just
lived
gonna-
through this one. We used to have wedding images that when my husband processed them in black and white, they reticulated if it was too cold.
Huh.
Then
Okay.
had to put them on silk paper to salvage them.
Interesting. Background level, if you drag it to the left, which is 0, drag it to the right, which is 50. I do 0 to 50 in about half a second, and you got it. Foreground level, background level, max them both, and it's weird. Stamp. This is kind of making a stamp out of your pizza. Again, smoothness to the right, you got nothing. Smooth to the left is very sharp, distinct. Can't tell it's a pizza, but if you want to make a stamp looking thing, you can make your own stamp. Torn edges, this is the one it keeps defaulting to for some reason. Image balance, smoothness, and then contrast to the right, contrast to the left. Kind of weird, but okay. And water paper. Filter length or fiber length, brightness. Take the brightness down, it's not very bright. Take the brightness up. That makes sense if you take the brightness down. And then contrast gets kind of super soft. And contrast full max. Contrast way down, that would be a good logo for somebody's pizza place.
Mm-hmm.
And close that, go to stylize, glowing edges. Yeah.
Ooh.
Photograph some kid's hot rod Honda or something like that. This would be cool. Edge width down, edge brightness, kind of bring it up a little bit. Smoothness, that's smoothness down. And the higher I go with the smoothness, the less detail.
That could be really interesting.
It is way cool. This is one to play with. Probably with a wine bottle. It makes it more of a like a neon edge
Uh-huh.
or neon glow, which is really cool. And then you have the different textures. Craquelure. That's kind of cool. Looks like it's on a like a ceramic hot pot holding thing. Crack spacing, crack depth. That's full 10.
Now it looks like your kitchen counter.
Exactly.
Huh.
And then crack brightness. That's a very low brightness crack. And there's your full-blown crack. So what it says, crack brightness. I'm not even making a joke on that one.
That was the old,
Weird, interesting.
the old paintings were crackler because they would crack like that.
Right.
You're right. Yeah, all the Renaissance paintings would. Yeah.
Grain, that just adds grain, no big deal. If you want to add grain, you can change the grain type. Soft grain, sprinkles, stippled, speckle. That's interesting. I didn't realize that was a grain. Regular. Again, with the contrast, take it way down. Intensity. And then go to mosaic tiles. That's kind of cool. Mel, you did something with the mosaic tile?
It was the mosaic, but back in I think the artistic or stylist
Okay.
one from earlier, and yeah, it's kind of cool. And Mike, I just took that glowing edges to that truck in the field.
Oh, you got to email that to me.
Man,
I bet. Mosaic tiles. This one's kind of cool. You can do the tile size. Almost looks like a jigsaw puzzle. Grout width. Lighten the grout, darken the grout.
I'm surprised they don't have a jigsaw puzzle.
You know, we should probably send them a request to fix that. They might do that. And this one's called patchwork. So you can change the square sizes. For more detail, the smaller the size. Relief is to the far right, to the far left. This is kind of weird, but interesting. Stained glass, obviously stained glass. There's my pizza. Cell size all the way up to 50. That don't quite work. Border thickness, you can adjust the border thickness on these. Light intensity. Pretty much just works with the center of the image, looks like. And last but not least, this one's called Texturizer. So right now it's set to canvas. Go scaling, add some texture. Whoa, too much relief. Bring it down. And again, you can adjust where your light comes from, or you can actually invert it without going in there. Okay, we're at top now. Let's go to bottom. Don't like that. Let's go to top by clicking on that. So you can do that pretty easily. That's the filter gallery. That's all those filters. And like I was saying earlier, you can go in here and do a neon glow and then add another filter on top of it, such as stained glass, and then add another filter on top of it by hitting the plus and doing paint daubs or film grain, fresco. There you go, fresco. And then add another stained glass on top of the, whoops. Fresco, add another stained glass on top of that. Then add a photocopy and then add chrome on top of that, which screws it up totally. But I mean, the worst that can happen right now is you just go in there and play.
Is there any way to do a mask between the various layers as you came up with?
You can do a mask. Let me go back and share again. What you would have to do, there's no way to mask between the layers here.
No, okay.
There is no on the filter itself. So I hit cancel. Screen sharing window is closed. Why did it close? Share screen. Go back in. Thank you. So I hit filter, filter gallery, and let's say we'll do photocopy. Bring the detail. There we go. And then, okay, that's on that copy. So what we need to do now is to add a new layer. So we'll do Command J just to bring it up that way. And then go back into filter gallery, add, let's go with stylized glowing edges. Okay. And then add a mask on here.
Okay.
And then paint it out. There's a way around it, but kind of a long way around.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm just making it up as I fly, so it's what I do best. MSU, make stuff up. Okay. Oh, can I share that, Mel?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And go back here. Oops. Go back here, share screen. Photoshop. This was using glowing edges?
Yes.
Okay. It's one of the images that he has. Are there any print comp judges with us today? Okay. This is one of his images he sent in to IPC, only it wasn't this version. A little different,
You know,
but
it also did the key lines.
Yep.
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. So if you mask out the key line so that you have that can work pretty cool, Mel.
It really is kind of interesting, isn't it?
I like that.
But
That's really
that was
interesting.
Using that glow thing, yeah.
Right. I'm going to try it on one of the spin things and see what it does.
There you go.
Yeah.
The worst that can happen is you hit cancel
Yeah, exactly.
and you wasted 30 seconds of your time.
Exactly.
But for the most part, it's just going and play. I mean, that's the worst that can happen.
Did you notice there's several of those same types of ideas where you can do the distort, you can do twirl, and you can do a whole bunch of things that are very similar to what you just did. It's almost like those are actions.
Almost. Some of them are very similar to each other. And just depending on how you slide your sliders around, you may end up with the same filter effect using two different filters. Yeah, definitely. Any questions?
I have a comment.
Okay.
There's a jigsaw puzzle maker thingy in Photoshop.
In shapes?
No, it is apparently in your Photoshop's folder, which I don't know where the hell the Photoshop's folder is. Got me on that, and then under presets, textures, then there's a puzzle in there.
Okay, I will go hunting for that.
I will send you the link to how I found that.
Google?
Yeah, but I mean,
Okay, yeah.
I've got a video up on
Okay,
it.
cool. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
I'll show you where I'll just send that to you so you don't have to.
All righty.
see Where I found it.
This Thursday, there will not be a Photoshop party. I know. I've got,
Going back to Idaho.
no, I'm going to be photo cataloging my studio stuff to have a garage sale for photographers. And then also a lot of work around the house to catch up on, and I've been gone for a week. So got some landscape maintenance that the boss lady said I have to do. Oh wait, let me unrecord this. Stop